we might have an opportunity here. We're just a couple, about a point from yesterday's close. Yesterday's close again is 25.75. We're in the M period. It's 13:38. There's a few minutes left, 45 minutes to the close. Let's see if we can hit this yesterday's close. We're above the D period high, so this could be an area of stop running. So let's see if we can't find a position here. Some cross trade here. Some cross trade here. Let's take the 24.25. We are short too at 24.75. Let's see. That's enough for me. We're short at 24.75. The yesterday's close is 25.75. It didn't bounce here. I was thinking it would bounce to take the stops out above 25.75. It didn't. That's one of the reasons why we went short at 24.75. We will better the position in the 26s if they run the stops above the end period high, reaching yesterday's or Friday's close at 25.75. We'll be prepared. Otherwise, we're going to buy one back at 23.50, which we got filled. That's 1.25 points. We're going to buy one at, where do we exit on this thing? The point of control is all the way down to 13.10. So let's employ a trailing stop strategy. Let's put our target on the second buy at 13.10, same price we got filled last time. See if we can make a 10-point rotation down. Once we break 5 points, once we hit the 19s, then we'll employ a trailing stop, and what we'll do there is we'll take the high around 25. We'll take the, of course, low of the move at 19. That would be about a 6-point range divided by 2, and use that as an earmark from the low. So in other words, if 19 was the point that we subtracted from the high, and the difference was, this range was 6, then 3 points would be our trailing stop, and then that would be adjusted as we go down. So we're down in the 20s, so if we hit 19, our trailing stop then would be 3 points, would take us out at 21 on a market order. Otherwise, we'll wait till 13.10, and our hard stop is, of course, 24.75. That would be a hard stop. Our trailing stop strategy, 19, 20, 21, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 would be the area that we would get out at the market if, in fact, the market did rally a little bit. So let's see here. Since we only have 2 minutes and 37 seconds on the video, we'll let the video run here for a bit. $24.75 was our original sell. So if we hit the 19s, that would make again a 5-point. No, if we hit the 18s, I'm sorry, that would make a 6-point range. If we hit the 18.75s, that'd make a 6-point range. At that point, we would implement a trailing stop, and of course divide 6 by 2. That would give us 3 points off the low. So we haven't quite hit that 6-point area yet. We're bouncing around here a little bit in the M period. Now, if we employed the trailing stop strategy at 4.75, that makes a little, we'd be out of the market by now. If we did it at 5 points, when we got down to 19.75, then of course 2.5 points above 19.75 would be 22 and change. We didn't quite get back to the 22s. So we're just going to stand tight here and see if we can't get our fill down at 13.10. If so, that would make our best trading day since we've been producing the day trading snippets. If we get down to the 18s, of course, then again we'll employ our trailing stop strategy, dividing the range by 2, adding it to the current low, exiting on a market order. Alright, there's our trailing stop strategy flag. So now we have a 6-point range from our entry at our high, at our sell at 24.75. So what we would do is divide that 6-point range by 2, add 3 to the low, which is 17. So that means if we got back to 20, I would exit our final contract at the market at 20. Let's see how this strategy plays out. We have 6 more points to go to hit our target at 13.10. You know, actually 13.10 is the point of control, so let's change that to 13.11. That's 1 point above the point of control. And mentally our trailing stop is out of the market at 13.20 at the market. Don't know where we would get filled, but when it hit 13.20 we would click the buy button at the market, and could get filled at 20, 25, 50, 75, 21, depending on how quick the market's bouncing around there. That would at least lock in, 3 points from the original sell. We're going to pause it now and see where we go. If we hit the 1320s again, I'll be out of the market at the market. Alright, we almost hit 1320 just about 5 seconds after I put the video on pause. So we're going to see here. We're out of the market on a stop, or excuse me, we're out of the market on a market order if it gets into the 20s. It didn't get into the 20s, so it seems that we're consolidating down here a little bit around the 17s, 18s. That happens to be, the 17 area happens to be the area where we consolidated before we broke above to the 24, 25 area, the in-period high. So that was a reasonable area, you might say, to get out of the market if you were basing your exit on the areas where the initiative buying came in to bring us to the in-period high. I was aware of that, but I implemented our trailing stop strategy instead. I think we still have a pretty good shot to get back down toward the point of control, which is a bit below us, so we're going to hang tight here. That might have been the last hurrah for the M period to try to get back toward its highs, and we might be all down from here. Now, since we broke into the 16s, of course, our trailing stop has to be readjusted. The range now would be 8 points, which would be divided by 2, so 4 points now off the 13-16 low would get our exit. That's still in the 20s. When I do the arithmetic, it's just round numbers, so if you say, well, the 20s are the same area last time, it was only a point difference, so half a point would have been the real difference. We need to move a few more points lower for the trailing stop to actually move significantly. If it gets into the 15s, then we'll have about 10 points. Divided by 2. That doesn't make sense, actually. That's an error. I need to revisit that trailing stop strategy because it remains the same. As the range increases, divided by 2, your trailing stop actually increases. So that's no good. We need to take a look at that and readdress that. That obviously doesn't make any sense. So that's an interesting observation there. Alright, we'll put this video on pause and wait for it to break below the in-period low, which should take us down toward the point of control. Okay, rethinking our trailing stop strategy. We're going to get out of the market here. We're going to take the 17 1/4s, and we are out of here, and need to revisit the 17 1/4s. Got that down. We need to revisit the trailing stop. The reason I took the 17 1/4s after I realized the trailing stop mechanism was flawed is this is again the area right before the market broke up to its in-period high. So we are out of the market at 17 1/4. So before we wrap this video, just in reflection again, we got out after we realized the trailing stop was not accurate, right at the area where the initiative buying took the market from the 17s up to the 25s. And that gave us a nice trade, gave us 1 1/4 points on the first contract, 7.5 points on the second contract. You'll notice that we didn't incorporate our typical 5-point exit for our second contract, and the reason being is that the volatility today, the range expansion per period is greater. So we took a little advantage of that, and that gives us a nice overall amount for the day. I don't know if we broke toward the 20 area, but we're pretty close. I think we had about 13 points previous, and this is another 9 and change, 7.5, 8.5, almost 9. So this is definitely the best trading day that we've had, and when I woke up I didn't intend to trade, but we did see those asymmetrical opportunities that we took advantage of, and it was a great day trading.